Mixed Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Mixed Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Mixed Design.
Hog fanatics, we at Inside the Hawg Pen are thrilled to announce that SeatGeek is now a sponsor. As brand ambassadors, we're excited to share SeatGeek as a ticket app that simplifies the ticket buying process for all your favorite events. They provide a 0 to 10 score for each ticket, with green indicating a good deal and red indicating a not so good deal. As a special offer, Hog fanatics can get $20 off their first ticket purchase by using the code INSIDEHOGPEN. Check out our socials for the link, and remember to use the code INSIDEHOGPEN.
This is where the fun begins. What is up, everybody?
But we've seen this movie before.
What's Sam Pittman known for?
I don't know.
Exactly. Is the Arkansas athletic program cursed? You never know what the loudest mouth in the fan base and his wild band of misfits are going to say.
I have a river of Kool-Aid for basketball.
It's time to step inside the Hawg Pen with your host, Razorback Zach and Marcus MC Carlton.
Let me talk to you.
Oh, boy. Let me talk to you indeed. What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Inside the Hawg Pen. I'm your host, Razorback Zach, from the Central Arkansas Hawg Pen. As you can tell, I am not 100% tonight. This weather's got me.
No game face tonight, huh?
Yeah, I'm going dork face tonight. I look like a dork fish. I usually don't wear my glasses, though, but the guy to my left, my right, whatever way you're watching, is, of course, my buddy, my co-host, cohort, and glue, professionally proven. That holds the whole damn thing together. Marcus MC Carlton MC, have you survived the tornado apocalypse?
Yeah, man. We were very fortunate here in the Bono Metroplex. Dodged a bullet again, but prayers up for a lot of my people over in Lake City and Monette, Eastern Craighead County, and the very western tip of Mississippi County. If you're familiar with Northeast Arkansas, they were not quite so lucky. But there's a lot of recovery going on over there. I am happy to report that there were 0 fatalities.
Yes,
and only four injuries out of all that mess that went through there. 150-mile-an-hour winds. So, you know what? We're going to take that as a blessing from God and go with it. So,
hey, I heard that. No, it's pretty quiet down here. Tomorrow may be another story, though. But
yeah,
I'm pulling. So if you see me kind of look away from the screen for a little bit, I'm kind of pulling double duty. I'm on chase mode tonight, too, just to make sure that the state's good and everything. But we have a big, huge, ginormous, star-studded show tonight. Not both of us. There's
no.
But before we do, make sure you tune in tomorrow, 101.1 FM, The Answer. Inside the Hawg Pen goes radio. I'll have the great Dave Ellswick joining me. We're going to talk a little Final Four tournament and some more basketball talk, because let's face it, baseball's in full swing, but we got to put a bow on basketball first.
Yep.
And make sure you guys call in 501-823-0965 tomorrow morning. I want to hear from y'all. So tell me what you guys think. But hey, MC, we've waited for about a week to do this.
Yeah.
And our guest tonight put us in a text chain a few weeks ago with the South Carolina game. Great insight when it comes to Arkansas basketball. And Dylan had the idea of bringing him on and doing a season recap of the 2024-2025 season. And then a way too early season preview of the 25-26 season. So our guest at this time, former Arkansas Razorback, Chuck Tatum. What's up, Chuck? You're muted.
What's going on, guys?
Welcome in, man. We're glad to have you in here.
Glad to be on, guys.
I got another hoops guy in here with me now. I'm loving it.
Whoa.
Hey, you're the self-proclaimed football guy.
I can hang with you a little bit, but no, football's my bread and butter.
Hey, you get 5 minutes a game. You give me your hardest for the 5 minutes, so I'll take it.
I mean,
every team needs a role player.
Wow.
Yeah, we can't stop after every play 35 seconds so you can get ready again. So
yes,
we're live action.
1, football 0. Yes,
there's your mascot. So
yes,
yes. Chuck, I wanted to start off by asking and MC, if I'm stepping on your toes here, stop.
No, you're good.
In your opinion, was the season an overachievement than what we thought it would be, an underachievement, or kind of on par? I won't really call it a success or a failure, because obviously getting to the Sweet 16 is a huge success.
Right. Like, you kind of look at the success of basketball season in a couple different ways. You had to look at the makeup of your team and what the potential of that team was. And you got to weigh that against the competition and the injuries and things like that. But finishing in the Sweet 16 at the end of any season can be considered a success for a couple of reasons. One, you gelled at the right time, and I think the way we finished the season up 16 in the game that we ended up losing by 2 with a couple of questionable calls in overtime, I would say that it was a success. But it's also one of those things where we can look at where we could be right now, getting ready to, possibly play tonight. I mean, this weekend, or, if we would have had a healthy Thero, would have had a healthy Flan, the potential of where we could be still playing right now, you could kind of ask yourself that question. It could be was it a success? Was it on par? But definitely it was a successful season. It definitely was a successful season with all the circumstances. I'll say that, in my opinion.
I would agree. And I saw of course the immediate reaction is the sky's falling after they lose the game to Texas Tech. Yeah. Honestly, man, I'll say this. I had a little bit of what I call a poo-poo lip for about 2 hours. But then when I started thinking about everything this team went through all year long and the fact that they pulled it all together, and even after, I mean, they had heartbreak in the SEC tournament. They got beat literally at the buzzer, in the SEC tournament. And then you come in, you beat a Hall of Fame coach in Bill Self. You beat, the guy that's known as the Godfather. Rick Pitino. You beat him in round 2. And then you get to the Sweet 16. And I will say this, Grant McCaslin is one of the he's not as young, but I'd say he's one of the hottest up-and-coming coaches in the game right now. Very smart man. I got to see him when he was over here at Arkansas State for a season. Very, very fundamentally sound coach. He's going to do good things before his career is done.
I've known Grant since he was back in Millen College. He used to run a Bible study at the IHOP there in Millen. Great guy. And his success isn't like he's been a winner. Coach McCaslin has been a winner, and I knew going into that game, even up 16, it's just he's one of those coaches where you always know his guys are going to be ready for full 40 minutes. So kind of.
Well, and if you've seen Texas Tech play at all this year, the way they shot for the first, I would say 70% of the game, eventually those shots were going to start falling. They're too good of a team to shoot that bad for a full 40 minutes. And that's exactly what happened. Their shots started falling. ours, we picked the absolute, I think you said this in our group text, we picked the absolute worst time of the game to have one of our scoreless streaks.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But
we have
man,
a couple of
the
those.
heartbreak,
We've had a couple of games, those scoring droughts where, it's a combination of fatigue and, teams go on runs, man. But, it's having it at that time of the game. Was devastating. That was devastating.
It was.
Wanted to ask you, Chuck, the three of us, me, Dylan, and MC, were talking about this. I guess it was last week. After the game, do you think that did we sub in for the last 10 to 15 minutes of regulation of that Tech game, and then do you think that fatigue set in, and that's how Texas Tech was able to fight back and then send it to overtime to win it?
That's a good excuse. I mean, that's a good viable excuse, but we're talking about athletes tip top shape, and fatigue may have played a factor, but if I'm Coach Cal, I'm not taking those guys off the floor either. Those are the girls that you brought to the dance. Let's dance with those guys, and they've been playing well for 7 minutes, so, the rotation and the substitutions, I can't say that any coach would have done anything different, because you take a hot hand off to put in, somebody that might not be in rhythm. So fatigue may have played a difference, but I still think that was probably the best call.
Perfect example to me of the subbing is, Boogie played a little bit that game, but he wasn't Boogie. He had the rust was still kind of there, and it just, everything that he was up against, we don't know, his thumb may have been bothering him too. That could have factored into it as well, but he just didn't have it. And I think Cal saw that, and he stuck with, like you said, he stuck with the guys that brought him to the dance. And, it's painful to lose that way. But the fact that Arkansas was there, to me, I said it back in November, when we started the season, and we were talking about, Jonas Adu's got a foot, and, Nelly hurt his thumb or his shooting hand, wrist, whatever it was. And I said, look, Sweet 16, I'll take it. Year one, absolutely, I'll take it. And here I am, and I'm happy with it. I'm satisfied. Was I disappointed? Yeah, absolutely, I was. Because I don't care if I'm playing Candyland, I want to win.
Every game.
That's just the way I am. But to end in the Sweet 16, I thought was I'll take it.
MC, think about this for a minute, though. And Chuck, I want to get your take on this. We weren't even supposed to be in this tournament.
Yeah. Yeah.
We weren't even supposed to be
We were the first four out for weeks.
Oh, yeah.
We were the first four out for weeks.
And for Dylan, who is listening right now, I never put it down. I never said Coach Cal was washed. I've been a critic of his. I've been a very big critic of his early on. But I will admit, I'm one of the ones that threw us in the coffin and forgot the nails.
Yeah.
When you start 0-5 the way we did, you really don't have much of a choice. But to go 0-5 and end in the Sweet 16, how can you not say that Cal knows what he's doing with that group of guys?
Totally agree.
And the entire staff. You got to give credit to Kenny Payne, Chin Coleman, and there's one more that I'm forgetting, and I can't remember his name, but the whole staff, the way that they were able to just keep these guys believing. To me, that says a lot, because Chuck, I'm sure at some point in your career, you've had a situation like that where it just seems like everything you do, the result is one step worse than the previous result. It's just like you can't get anything to go right. I know I've been there.
Right.
And when you start doubting everything, you doubt yourself, you doubt your teammates, you doubt your coach, you doubt everything about it. And the fact that he can keep them bought in and keep them believing, and then to follow that up, they go to Rupp, get a big win. And I kind of feel like that started turning things around. And then, the Missouri game at home, when you had the legends come in from the 90 team, and you had, the pregame speech or the practice speech that we all saw from Daryl Hawkins. Hey, man, I'll tell you, I am short and fat and 47 years old, but Hawk had me ready to run through the wall, man.
Hey.
But what he said was true. When you get to the point where you're playing for each other, you're going to get everything you want. And I feel like that Hawk was kind of laying it out for him. And that's exactly what happened, because when they all went 100% and bought in to playing for each other, that's when good things started to happen.
Right. And MC got you guys managing the ebbs and flows emotionally during seasons is what separates great coaches. Like
Absolutely.
The talent is there. You have to get that talent to meld together. And you're dealing with very temperamental. They're kids. Like we're talking about 18 through 22 year olds, and you're getting them with the emergence of the portal. Most of these guys are first year guys. They're learning how to play in a new system with new guys with different personalities. And sometimes it takes longer than we'd like for that to gel.
Sure.
And it took 5 losses in the SEC for that to gel, but it did. And I think that's a testament to Coach Cal, because without that, we could have went 4 and 12.
Yeah.
That
we could have been LSU basically.
Right. But he kept coaching. The guys kept fighting, and they pulled themselves out of the hole, and eventually, and we end up in the Sweet 16. So hat off to Cal.
Chuck, one of the things in MC, you chimed on those too a couple of times. We almost thought that there towards the middle of the season that some of the players were going rogue because they knew there was nobody on the bench to sub them out. Do you think that's a possibility that happened, and that had to happen to get them to come together?
Like everybody on every Division I basketball team's an alpha male. Like everybody is the guy. So I think it was more of of individuals attempting to put the team on their back, attempting to do the work for their teammates. And when you have other guys, like that could have ended drastically, because like I'm saying, every guy's an alpha male, but they fought together. And having your top 2-3 players out for multiple games and still continuing to compete, because even in the 5 games we lost at the beginning of the conference, those weren't blowouts. Like we were in those games, so we were,
every one of them.
And once everybody gets back, and things start working, and guys start figuring things out. I think Adu had the best couple of games of the season at the end of the year. And if he doesn't have the confidence from his teammates, he doesn't continue to be aggressive offensively. So the team got stronger. I think the talent was already there. The team chemistry got better, and they got stronger as a unit, and that's what got us where we were.
I really hate that the healthy Jonas Adu we got was only for 3, maybe 4 games. I mean, because if he's healthy the entire season, you're going to see more games like what you saw of him towards the very end of the year. Most likely. I mean, all things considered, when anything can happen, but you got to say the odds are in your favor that you're going to get a double from him every night. Easy. He was second team, third team all SEC when he was at Tennessee. He comes in with a lot of hype, and then he has the foot surgery, and it just, I mean, a lot of people who haven't played the game don't understand that not only is there the physical aspect of getting over an injury, but the mental aspect is probably bigger than the physical, because you can do rehab on the physical, and you can have a doctor look at it and say you're cleared. But the fact of you trying to relearn to trust that foot, to trust that ankle, to trust that knee, that's a big deal.
Well, we even go ahead, Chuck. I'm sorry, man.
Oh no, just me dealing with my injury, busting the knee, the spring of my junior years. Yeah, I got cleared. But for 6 months after I got cleared, I didn't have the confidence in it. And when you're playing at such a high level, and for these kids, every minute on the floor is valuable to where they want their careers to end up. You have a tendency to push yourself maybe before you're ready. But I think that was a good thing for Adu, because I think if he wouldn't have pushed himself, I think if there wouldn't have been the injuries, he might not have pushed himself the way that he did to get back. But the fact that he did, it shows a lot of heart on his concern, because I know how hard it is to deal with that mental, but it's exactly what the team needed. It's exactly what the guys needed to see.
Well, we even saw it with Adu Thiero when he played for the few minutes. There was one point where he drove to the basket and had to lay it up, but at 100%, that would have been a dunk, and it almost looked like he didn't trust, going up for it and landing on that knee.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that was when I knew, okay, he might be 70%, because we've seen that exact play. We've seen it from him earlier in the year. And that was one that was always a big momentum changer, because he either dunked it, got fouled, or dunked it and got fouled.
Right.
And when he went in and just kind of finger rolled it up, you could tell, if you had seen him play any at all, you could tell, okay, he's not right.
Yeah.
But I understand all sides of it, of wanting to get him in the game, because you have to prepare for Arkansas differently when Thero's on the floor than you do when he's not, because he's such a force. Yes, absolutely. He's the one that's got those little stars by his number when you're going up the report. So, hey, I got a comment here I got to throw in from Sam Jones, and he's talking about, he said Chuck Tatum played in that Jefferson Pilot Sports in the AI Answer Reeboks era.
I did. I
man,
absolutely did.
Yeah, with
the first shoes that ever had zippers. Yeah,
yeah.
I had a pair.
That's going back a little bit. Yeah.
Oh man,
man. As we continue to kind of talk through this season, let's look ahead for just a minute to next season. If you had to pick out, let's say, two guys that you absolutely want to see come back to kind of be the foundation for next year, what two guys would you pick?
Flan, Thiero, and Wagner. Easy.
Okay.
Easy. For the simple fact that I think we were playing our best basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing their best basketball at different times, because they were injured at different times.
Right.
I would like to see them healthy, together, within rhythm, with Wagner at the one. Like, I would love to see him be able to get into the paint and have people have to close out to Flan, because you're going to have to close the gap at the basket some kind of way. And if you're closing off Flan, that gives us a different dynamic from the outside if he's healthy with the way that he can shoot the ball. And that leaves Thiero wide open on the backside, to do what he wants to do on the defensive rebounds. He's so valuable because you don't ever have to run plays for him. Like, he's one of those guys that you don't ever have to run a set for him. He's going to end up with 16 and 8, and I think Wagner just runs the one well. I just love the way that he plays the one. You can never rest, because he's attacking you all the time. And he puts so much pressure on the defense because how deep he gets. And he's a baby. He's still developing into the kind of pass. I like him to get his eyes up 2 dribbles earlier looking for passes. But the guy has a tremendous upside, man. The sky's the limit for him.
Well, and you kind of answered my next question before I could ask it, because I was going to say, to me, DJ felt more comfortable in the one rather than in the two. And to me, his production went up, and a lot of people can say, well, that's him stepping up and doing what he's got to do when Boogie goes down. But he just seemed more natural. He seemed more confident.
Right.
His ability to penetrate, and he's got to make the defense pick their poison, because if you fade off of him, he's shown time after time after time how he can drive to the hole and get the bucket. I mean, just get that layup. I mean, kiss it off the glass. It's just beautiful to watch him do it.
Yeah.
But then if you go and stop him, he's got good enough vision to be able to find Thiero or TB or even, another guard out in the corner waiting to shoot a 3-pointer. I mean, but like you said, I agree totally with you. I'd like for him to look for that just a smidge sooner, because I think that's the difference in him being great and being elite.
Right. And shooting is such a premium. Like, you as even as a one, you have to be a knockdown shooter. Like, that has to be. But nobody can keep you out of the paint. But now, if people have to respect you and play you close, that changes the whole dynamic of how you can run a team, because now people have to get close and they can't even stay in front of you when they're sagging. If they have to step up because you can shoot off the dribble, change the whole dynamic of how teams defend you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when he got his confidence in it, and it appears to be the Kentucky game again, because that, to me, that was the first game where he looked like what we expected to see from DJ. And knocking down threes. And then as soon as they come running at him, he drives right by them, gets the bucket, or he dishes to somebody who gets a dunk or whatever. But once he got that confidence of getting his jump shot back, he was a different player. He was completely different.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You're
a threat.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are up against the break. You're listening to Inside the Hawg Pen with special guest, former Arkansas Razorback Chuck Tatum. More conversation about the basketball team right after this.
Ooh, pee.
Mix Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Mix Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Mix Design.
Hey, Hog fanatics. We at Inside the Hawg Pen are thrilled to announce that SeatGeek is now a sponsor. As brand ambassadors, we're excited to share SeatGeek as a ticket app that simplifies the ticket buying process for all your favorite events. They provide a 0 to 10 score for each ticket, with green indicating a good deal and red indicating a not so good deal. As a special offer, Hog fanatics can get $20 off their first ticket purchase by using the code INSIDEHOGPEN. Check out our socials for the link, and remember to use the code INSIDEHOGPEN.
It's time to step back inside the Hawg Pen to the Mix Design Studios.
Welcome back to Inside the Hawg Pen. I apologize about the extended break there. I'm having to pull double duty. I'm tracking this storm out of Lincoln County right now, and it's got some rotation on it. But welcome back to Inside the Hawg Pen. Razorback Zach, Marcus, MC Carlton, and special guest Chuck Tatum. Now, Chuck, going before the break, we were talking about the team. Kind of give us okay. So you're at halftime. Put yourself in I guess Coach Cal's shoes. What's your halftime speech to the team going into that, knowing that they're up, knowing that they're in a battle, it's a win or go home situation? What do you think Cal was saying to them in during halftime?
In that situation, I think, Cal, the only thing like you can say in that situation is keep doing exactly what you're doing. We have the momentum. Keep your foot on the gas pedal. Don't change anything. Continue to work hard. The game is 0-0. Game 0-0. Approach this next 20 minutes exactly the same way you approach those first 20 minutes. And the details, the last 10 minutes of every game is very, very detailed. Loose balls, rebounds, turnovers, like those little things. Be very, very precise on your execution and be disciplined. You got every possession has to be a blockhead. Can't give up offensive rebounds. Just paying close attention to the little things, the details, those little the goaltends that happen. Being in position earlier, making sure none of those things fall through. That's that halftime speech. Finish the job. It's halfway over. Finish the job.
That wasn't a goaltend, by the way. Brazil got ripped on that, man. That was he. Anyway, I digress, man.
I want to highlight this comment from Trevor Kaiser. I don't want to put it on screen because it'll cover Chuck completely up. He says, once injured, especially during a game, you're going to be scared that you're going to re-injure yourself and be done permanently. It's very, very hard to come back from an injury.
Yep.
In the same season,
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then I would be remiss if we didn't mention our royalty. Casey Sutton's in the house. Now, here's the thing about Casey, for those of you that don't know, and why do we call her ITHP royalty? Well, she's been with us since day one, and she's also kicked cancer's ass, not once, not twice, but a grand total of 3 times. So, by the way, MC, I also need to mention that we need to have continued prayers for Mama Linda right now. There's some health issues going on there that Casey wanted me to mention. But one of the things, let me pull my notes up here. one of the things that I noticed, there was a lot of me ball going on in the middle of the season and not a lot of we ball. You know, would you agree with that? I mean, I'm MC, you've mentioned it a couple of times.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like Chuck touched on this earlier. I'll let him go ahead and say what he's got to say, but you know, there's sometimes the me ball is not as bad as it appears because it's a guy trying to take control and trying to make stuff happen. So right. I'll let you kind of,
and that's what happens, you know, especially when you're losing games. You know, when you're losing games, everybody has a tendency to look around at other people because you never look internally first. Yeah. You know, so every single guy, remember, we got a team full of alpha males, they put it up on themselves to do it. And there's just not a positive way to win basketball games as an individual. And I think what we saw was guys try, because I saw a lot of forced shots, but I didn't see a lot of selfish basketball. Yeah, you know, I saw guys that were maybe shooting shots out of character or shooting shots that they might not shoot in other situations, but I didn't see guys, you know, out there, you know, just trying to, you know, trying to post for some stats. You know, they were still out there trying to compete, and I'm okay with that. You know, I'm okay with guys attempting to put a team on his shoulders, you know, especially when they're struggling. But, you know, as long as the team stays the team, which is always the most important, because if you can do that, you still have a chance to win. You know, as long as you stay together, you still have a chance to improve. As soon as there's dissension and y'all aren't together, that's when seasons end.
Chuck, I want to talk about two guys real quick that early on maybe were just kind of, I guess, finding their place on the team. And by the end of the season, these two guys were two of my favorites on the team, Billy Richmond and Carter Knox. Billy seems like that dude that is just, I mean, if he needs to run through a wall in order for the team to win, you know, man, he's going to back up and he's going to try to Kool-Aid man through that wall.
Yeah. Billy Richmond, like he was a freshman at the beginning of the season. Yep. I think he matured very, very fast. And like when him being in the game, that opened up so many things because he does so many things well. Yes. He rebounds well, he defends well, he penetrates well, he can shoot the floater, he can shoot a three. Like he's good at doing a little bit of everything, which allows you to run multiple sets and allows him to switch off on players. And sometimes you have certain players in the game, if a switch happens, there's an advantage. You know, but with Billy in the game, you can switch with anybody. You switch big on little on big, and he can still compete. And I think that was huge. And like as far as Knox, like when Thiero went out and I'm watching the game, I'm like, is that that's Knox? That's not because he stepped his game up to a level where I thought he was Thiero. Like I thought I was seeing a different guy. I was like, I thought he was injured, but he really, really raised the level of his game. Like he didn't at the beginning of the season, he might not have made a scouting report, you know, with everybody else on it. But at the end of the season, SEC tournament, he was on every single scouting report. And I'm just in awe of how hard he plays. You know, when I was in school and Coach Richardson, it was never about skill. It was all about how hard you play, how much pressure you can put, how much pressure you can apply. Because if you can play harder than your opponent, you're always going to have a chance to win. You know, hard work beats talent. Yeah, but talent doesn't work hard. So, you know, I love the way he finished the season.
A few weeks ago, I got to interview Ernie Murray, who was on the 1990 team, and he echoed a lot of the same things that you're saying about Coach Richardson, and was talking about that, you know, when they would do the platoon subs on those teams in the early 90s, he was like, Coach would say, look, there's 4 minutes till a media timeout. Give me your absolute hardest for 4 minutes. I'll get somebody in, you can rest, and then you can come back and give me your best again. You know, and to have the guys like Billy Richmond and Carter Knox, you know, both of those guys, the things that stuck out to me, anytime there's a loose ball, they're the first ones on the floor. They're the first one getting ready to sacrifice their body to go get that possession that might lead to an extra 2 points. And I mean, I'm getting chills sitting here talking about it because that's my favorite kind of player, man, because those dudes that do the dirty work, the stuff that doesn't go on the stat sheet. I mean, you get a team full of guys with that attitude. Well, okay, let me back up. You get two guys with that attitude bleeds over, and it's contagious. Right. It's just like anything else. If shooting is contagious, a bad attitude is contagious, but good attitude and hustle is also contagious too. And I feel like that those two guys, you know, when Billy was coming off the bench, he reminded me a lot of like a Ron Hury or a Roger Crawford that would come in and provide a spark, instantly. And a few times he did that and changed the game. And Carter finding his groove at the end of the season, man. I mean, it got to where he was becoming that dual threat as well, to where if you sagged off of him, he was going to pop the three in your face.
Right.
And if you got out on him, he was going to drive by and either dunk it or find somebody else to dunk it.
Yeah.
I mean, it got fun, man. At the end of the season, it got fun.
Because like I don't even remember like him teeing up many threes at the beginning of the season.
No, like not at all.
And so like him going, I think they found their groove. I think they finally gelled together. It's just, you know, pre-transfer portal era.
Yeah,
you knew your guys. You practiced with them. You lived with them for years, and you developed that relationship over time. You know, you get these guys. Y'all are showing up in August, and y'all have seen each other. Y'all was on the same, you know, AAU circuits and things like that. You follow careers, but you've never played on the same team with these guys. And remember, everybody's an alpha male. Everybody is entering. They got to make room in the locker room for all the egos that come with this level of basketball. And sometimes it takes a little while for that to happen. But I think that what happened with Billy and what happened with Knox is those guys, the way they played the game, you're exactly right, MC, it became contagious. Like the SEC tournament game, the last couple of games getting in, with the exception of the South Carolina game, we played so much harder than our opponents.
Yes.
It was like we beat them on the glass. We turned them over. Like we got to every loose ball. We were deflections. Those things weren't present at the beginning of the season. And that's what I think turned the tables for us. Beautiful to see.
Oh, it was. I mean, if you're a junkie like I am, man, that's the kind of stuff that you just sit there and like I said, I'm getting chills, you know, thinking about it, because when you start getting guys to do that kind of thing and not have to think about it, like it's their reflex to dive after the loose ball or to jump out of bounds to try to save the ball. When that becomes reflex, you're going to win a lot of ball games.
Yes, sir. And you could even see it in their body language, man. Like
oh,
when teams go on runs, like there was no soaking and hanging of the head. Those guys were, it was a fight. Like you hit me, I hit back. And that's what you want to see from those guys, man, because it's so easy for when teams to go on runs for your confidence to wane. But I never saw a lack of confidence, a lack of effort going into the SEC tournament and in the tournament. And that made me really proud, because, you know, starting 0-5 in SEC, you know, it would have been easy for those guys to be like, well, we did enough. You know, but they kept fighting every minute. Good job.
Zach, I'm kind of dominating the conversation here, but you just jump in whenever, man. You're muted, buddy.
Sorry about that. One of the things that I'm, you know, and you're doing just fine, MC. I'm having to pull double duty, so not gonna hear any complaints out of me. One of the things that I noticed, Chuck, was Big Z had a game where he just kept jacking threes up and kept missing and kept missing and kept missing.
I think it's Auburn, I think.
Yeah, it was Auburn. Why didn't somebody stop him? Why the hell didn't somebody stop him?
Because Zach, shooters shoot, man. Like
yes,
we like if it doesn't matter if I miss 10 in a row and I'm open for the 11th one, shoot.
You do.
That's just what we do. There's
for somebody that doesn't, I mean, for somebody who eats, sleeps, and breathes football like MC does basketball, wouldn't that have an impact on your mentality going into the continue on in the game? The further the game goes, the more you miss.
I mean, if Tom Brady's your quarterback, I don't know how you feel about Tom Brady, but if he's your quarterback, you're still going to throw the ball if he throws 3 interceptions. Like if Tom Brady is under center, you let him throw it. You know, but
my quarterback's Dak Prescott, but we're not gonna go there.
You might want to hand it off.
Yeah. If you got Dak back there, you might as well just hand it off. So
I don't even trust our running back right now. So
who is he? Who is
Well,
it?
he was Ezekiel Elliott.
I think there's a transfer portal that we just got to wait until football season to see who we get, see who
Right.
decides.
That was, it's funny you should mention the transfer portal. One of the things that I noticed too that that happened last year. Again, all things considered, we all know how last year was. You don't see a lot of transfer talk right now out of the basketball team. You see a lot of guys committing, but to me, that's a good sign that nobody's Big Z, but I mean, I've heard that he's in the portal, then he's back, then he's out of the portal. But for the most part, you're not hearing a lot of portal talk from the basketball team.
Yeah, that has to be a testament to that locker room. The guys that are in that locker room, they bonded together. They want to play together. Coach Cal has created an environment that they want to be a part of. Because there was things running on the bottom line about the portal, like every day since the teams were getting eliminated from the tournament. And I hadn't seen anything much. And what I assume is that everybody's looking. That everybody's looking. And that's fine. That it's your right to look. But the fact that nobody's pulled the trigger, that's very, very positive to me. And if that is the case, if we're going to get everybody back, you can 100% give Cal the credit for creating the environment that kids want to be a part of. And of course, there's nothing like playing in Fayetteville. There's nothing like our fans, man. You talking about love. You talking about love. Come to an Arkansas game at Bud Walton. You'll feel love.
Hey,
there you go. Ooh, you give me them chills, Chuck.
I know, right?
I'm gonna go Hulk Hogan here in a minute and rip his shirt off.
Nothing like it.
Whoa, nobody wants to see that.
Nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I don't. Everywhere, all these places. There's nothing like Bud Walton.
We've got our executive producer here by phone. He's still doing the
D-Mad.
work. D-Mad, are you with us?
Maybe
got swept up on those tornadoes.
Yeah, he might have, man.
he's in Kansas now.
Yeah.
I think we got him. There. D-Mad, are you there, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Okay. Well, I'll let you ask the question so you barely can hear me.
He's wanting to know, did in regards to that South Carolina game, did South Carolina just have our number that game, or did we have just an off game and completely?
I mean, they kind of run the same. I mean, I watched some South Carolina games, but they're on a bad team. They got some bad breaks. They've had some injuries, but I think we might have been looking past South Carolina a little bit.
I think so.
I did not see the effort that we played with throughout that second part of the season in that particular game. When we were texting, I was like, where's the energy? Look at the closeouts were slow. We weren't pursuing rebounds. It's like, this doesn't look like the same team that played Texas a couple of days ago.
Right.
So that was the main difference I saw. I didn't see anything that we did different as far as what we ran offensively. It's just we didn't play with the same level of urgency. And anytime you're not on your A game in the SEC, you can lose.
And you touched on this, but I had watched several South Carolina games earlier in the year, and they were in almost every game. I mean, every game at the last media timeout, it was a maybe 4 or 5 point game one way or the other, and then they would end up losing a close one. They might be up 4 at the under 4 timeout, and then they would end up losing the game by 6. And it was because either Pringle fouled out or, one of their other main guys would foul out, and their bench players that they brought in there was just enough difference in their caliber of talent that they were a bad matchup for whoever they were guarding. And, Kentucky, they played Kentucky tough. They played, there was somebody else, maybe Alabama. Is either Alabama or Auburn. They played one of those really close because it was in Columbia. And Chuck, you played in Columbia. That's not an easy place to play either.
No, I mean, it's not. They're always competitive down there. Those guys, South Carolina's always played with a lot of pride. They've always played well, and they got some guys on that team, man. They have some guys on that team, and I think that they're working with a really good nucleus So if they put some people around them via, recruiting or portal, like they could be a scary team. Like they could be one of those teams because you already see that they can compete and they never quit. All they need is a few pieces. So South Carolina is one of those teams that you got to pay attention to. Vanderbilt too.
So I got you brought up the portal. I want to touch on this, and then I see D-Man's in here with us now. I'm gonna tag out and let him tag in. But if you're okay, let's say you're in the position of Chin Coleman or Kenny Payne or one of the assistants, and you're looking at the portal. What's the one piece that you're trying to pull out of the portal for this team next year?
Shooting.
Okay.
Shooting. We need shooting at the 2, 3. We need not replacing what we have, but if we can get players that specialize in perimeter shooting, that changes. Think about, with Wagner, Flan, how easy it is for those guys to get in the paint.
Yeah.
If one or two things are going to happen. Either they're going to stay with the shooters and you don't have to worry about rotation on defense, or they're going to come and we got nice pitches. I think we had a lot of opportunities because we're an attacking team, so we're getting in the paint, we're making the pitch, and we're attacking the closeout. If you can pump fake and get a 3 out of that opens those lanes up. And with Wagner and Flan going downhill like they do, free throw line, all things open up when you have people that can stretch the defense. So if we're looking for anything out of the portal, go get some shooters.
See, mine and mine goes back to shooting, but I had a little different pick. If I'm on the assistant, and maybe this is just the old school in me coming out, but I'm going and I'm looking for a nasty 6'9", 250, 260, 4 or 5 guy. And the reason I'm going for that, think about Broom at Auburn. Okay. That's kind of the mold of a player that I'm wanting to go to find, like those just grow on trees. But my thought process was that if you have a guy in the post that is going to draw double teams almost every possession, then you're still going to get wide open shots outside, because when he draws the double team, if he's got good hands and good vision, he can kick to one wing or the other and have either Wagner or Boogie there, and they're going to have a little more time to set their feet and get their hands set right on the shot, rather than having somebody right up in their face. They can still shoot that way, but chances are, if you got a wide open look, your chances are better that you're going to hit it. But I don't think there's a wrong answer. I love the fact, if you could get a Pat Bradley or a Rodney Clark or somebody that is just known as a deadly assassin from 3, like if you see them and they get it open, it's like, okay, well, let's just go to the other end because he's not missing this.
Like if you can get a Broom, if you can find a big, powerful, the game has evolved a little bit.
Yes.
And when I look at bigs, if you're not a perimeter threat, also, you're kind of in the way. Yeah. And I'm thinking about the makeup of our team now with all the middle penetration we have. If we could we need Z with a post game. We need Z to gain like 60 pounds and work on his Kareem Abdul-Jabbar sky hook. If we can get that to where we can feed it to him, but he can also pull the big away from the paint. I thought that was a huge move that we made in the tournament. I forget who we were playing, but when Z came into the game, it totally changed the way that they were defending us, because now Z is picking and popping, not picking and rolling. There's no more drop defense, and it opened up lanes, and it was layup after layup after layup. So if we have that dynamic, it's going to have to be really, really effective for it to work in concert what we already have going. So, I love bigs, but we don't have bruisers like we did in the 90s when I played. Go find me a Charles Oakley. Somebody like that, big body that can fit screens. Like, I'll take that all day. But if you're not an effective scorer in the paint, and you can't stretch you limit our options is what we can do offensively.
Is it everybody's favorite basketball word, gravity now? If you can shoot the 3-pointer, it's going to open up the lane to be able to drive.
That is it.
Yeah.
That is
Hey,
it.
we're
It's
up
it's
against
a theory though.
yeah, we're up against the break. When we come back, more from Chuck Tatum and the 2024-2025 Arkansas basketball season. Back right after this on Inside the Hawg Pen.
Meeks Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Meeks Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Meeks Design.
Hey, Hog fanatics. We at Inside the Hawg Pen are thrilled to announce that SeatGeek is now a sponsor. As brand ambassadors, we're excited to share SeatGeek as a ticket app that simplifies the ticket buying process for all your favorite events. They provide a 0 to 10 score for each ticket, with green indicating a good deal and red indicating a not so good deal. As a special offer, Hog fanatics can get $20 off their first ticket purchase by using the code INSIDEHOGPEN. Check out our socials for the link, and remember to use the code INSIDEHOGPEN.
It's time to step back inside the Hawg Pen to the Meeks Design Studios.
Let me talk to you.
Welcome back to Inside the Hawg Pen. Real quick, before we get back with Chuck, got to give a weather update. There are no tornado warnings in the state right now. There are severe thunderstorm warnings. If you're in the central Arkansas area, like Little Rock, Pulaski County, there is going to be a very strong storm coming through, but it is not severe at this time. So everybody don't freak out and start blowing up. Hey, what happened to this? What happened to that? You know, we're going to get hit by a tornado. The state's quiet tonight. There is a storm I'm watching around Stuttgart, DeWitt. That's got a little bit of rotation in it, MC. But other than that, the state is relatively quiet tonight, and we're going to keep monitoring tomorrow morning.
If you're in Little Rock, get off the road because there's a lot of rain coming down right now.
Yep, and that's going to happen the rest of the weekend, I'm afraid. So everybody just hunker down and put those skis on your car, and we'll just we'll go right across the top of the water everywhere.
By Sunday,
DoorDash it up.
We should be good. There you go. By Sunday, we should be good, fellas. But let's get back with it with Chuck. Chuck, I want to ask you, the season was a lot of ups and downs. Right before Kentucky, we had a rough loss against Oklahoma. Right before the win against who did we play? Vanderbilt, which what I thought was one of the most complete games of the season. We had that god-awful loss to South Carolina. Overall, best memory, best moment of the season for you?
Come on. The winning row.
Yeah.
The winning row. Come on.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go with the obvious answer.
That definitely is that's any time. I feel like we should cut the nets down and rub every time we win there. That's how I feel.
Yes.
We deserve that. Yes. So
yes.
But and I feel like that not only for that reason, because it's Kentucky and they're everybody's nemesis, it's that that was the turning point of the season. I think that was the game that I think they stopped doubting themselves and they became a team at that point. So easy for me. That was, win it up.
You kind of answered the follow-up question to that was, in football, I have a lot of conversations with Matt Hart over at our sister show Hog HQ, and back in September we were going over different games, and there's always that moment that's the turning point of the game or the turning point of the season where you stop and you go, that's the moment we just lost the game. That's the turning point.
Yeah.
That Kentucky game, like you said, I think was the turning point for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way the reception that Cal had going into that arena, and the way that he coached, and the way the guys just kind of came together, to me, kind of set the stage for going to the Sweet 16. I mean,
100%. Like that game was the first time that I saw them play like Razorbacks, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like they played every possession hard, and that's what we knew that this team could be. You know, we that's what we've been waiting for. Like when we were watching those games, we're like, just the energy, the effort. Where is that? We never asked those questions after that Kentucky game. Like, I think that was the turning point of them gelling together as a unit, because I think the ball movement, that's when Adu's game picked up. That's when Billy Richmond that's when all these things started happening. They gelled as a team and started learning each other. And, once that happens, teams get scary. And we had enough talent on this team to have a really, really memorable season. If we could have had everybody healthy and in rhythm at this time, we could be playing on Monday.
Yeah. I have absolutely no doubt about that, because for the first time, probably since that Kansas exhibition game at the beginning of the season, we saw guys, hitting their stride, so to speak, and doing things that we had not seen the majority of the year, like you were talking about. And it was, oh man, it was so much fun. And I'll tell you, inside that game, my favorite moment was when the cameraman cut to the stands with 4 minutes left, and you see all them little Kentucky fans doing their fire drill. They couldn't get out of Rebel Arena.
Standing ovation. Standing ovation.
Yeah. Hey, Chuck, I don't know if you got to catch, I don't know if you're on social media or anything, but we got
7 kids, man. I don't have time.
Well, I'm sure one of those 7 kids were letting you know about social media when all the big blue crybabies up there were crying and crying for the past 8 months about why Cal was trash, and we were taking their trash off his hands.
Yeah.
And then we go into their house on prime time and show them what the trash is really about.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Casey, one of our ITHP royalty wants to know, how do you see us next year?
That's where I was headed next. Yep.
Hey, I think I think Cal is everything he's cracked up to be. I think Cal does a great job of recruiting. I think he does a great job of creating the environment that kids want to be in. And when you have those two things, you have a chance to do something special. And I think we already have enough of the nucleus. And we're talking about the SEC. So if you can be highly competitive in the SEC, we're talking national championship. So I think with everything we have now, if we can keep the nucleus together, everybody healthy in rhythm, add some shootings and maybe a bruiser, let's cut down some nets in April next year, man.
And maybe next year it'll be somebody else's turn to fight this injury bug all year besides Arkansas.
I think just to add on to that, one thing that we're never going to have to worry about with Coach Calipari at the helm is being out-talented. Like, there's a lot of problems with X's and O's, like in the past years, but we're never going to have a problem with being just severely out-talented.
Right. And today's game is all about the Jimmies and Joes. Might not be about the X's and O's, but just about the Jimmies and Joes. So getting kids in there, and I mean, we're see with the commitments and stuff that's happening now, we're always going to have 5-star talent on the floor in Fayetteville.
Well, I mean, look no further than the McDonald's All-American game earlier this week. You had 2 of the top guards in that game both coming to Arkansas next year. Now, they were on opposite teams, which I was kind of hoping to see them on the same team so we could get a little idea of what they're like playing together. But you got Malik Thomas. Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff Jr., both of those guys had good games. And
you have a third that's taking us very seriously, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's a third guy that those two were very strategic in how they handled practices and stuff, trying to get this third cat to come on board. And man, if they bring him in, if you got 3 burger boys coming in on top of what we think is coming back, whoo, man. I mean, hey, Chuck, I was telling these 2 guys that's in here with me, I was like, hey, you boys are getting a sample, just like a little appetizer of what the 90s was like.
Yep.
Because that, I mean, 90s hog ball was just different, man. You just, I mean, I was a teenager,
yeah,
but it was just different because you rolled in, you expected to win everywhere you went.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
easy.
just how it was.
well, but
The crazy thing about like playing in that era, man, that's the only time I ever remember in my whole playing career that we never scouted other teams. It didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get to run an offense against us.
Exactly.
What are you talking about? We don't care what you're running.
Yeah.
You can't run an offense with somebody in your pocket the whole game. We never scouted anybody else, and we knew that teams were practicing with 8 players to simulate what we were doing. So it wasn't like we always knew because of the way we played, we were going to have a chance to win every single game because nobody played like us. And the team, with the players that we have coming in, like talent on the floor, is a premium. But what I saw at the end of this year gave me a really profound respect for Cal, because like every other program, they would have quit. They would have quit 0-5. They would not have rallied and ended up in the Sweet 16, man. And you give your credit to the players, but you gotta tip your hat to Cal.
I got to throw this at you while you're talking about Cal and what he's been able to do. How important is it when you see Coach Cal at these practices and at these games and stuff, bringing Coach Richardson in to the mix and bringing Coach Richardson's name, because the newer generation of fans, they've heard the name, but they don't understand. They don't understand what Coach Richardson was. I mean, you played for the man. Talk about how important that is to guys like you to see him getting his respect.
Yeah, and it's beautiful to see, Cal's respect for the legacy that he built, for the reputation that he, provided to Arkansas basketball. It's, you want your program to be yours, but I think that it was beautiful. Like there was just I love the way that he embraced not what he wanted to make Arkansas, but what Arkansas is and was, and having him along. And you forget that, well, for me, it wasn't that long ago when Arkansas was powerhouse. It wasn't. I'm a little older, but you can't go somewhere without knowing where you came from. And these kids that are signing on for Cal to play for Cal at Arkansas, I think it's important to know that you're not just coming to any school to play basketball. You're coming to a school with the rich basketball tradition of winning championships. Like, we played good basketball here, just like they do at Kentucky, just like they do at Duke. Like, you're coming to a program that has championship aspirations. So I think that him bringing Coach Richardson along just shows his respect for the lineage, man. Of course, I hadn't been a Cal fan before this year. He played with Coach Kentucky, but now, like, I'm actually following him and following how he works with his players, and it's because I'm a players guy. Like, coaches, like, if you're just there to draw plays, anybody can do that. You can get a machine to do that, but getting your message and getting the purpose of basketball to your players is something that very few can do, and Cal's great at it.
Yep. All right, what you got, Zach? Because I got one bullet left. I'm gonna throw it, Chuck, but I'm gonna let y'all get some questions in, because, like I said, man, I've been dominating the conversation tonight. This is heaven for me, man. I'm talking hoops. I'm talking hoops with a guy that played for Arkansas and a guy that almost hates Kentucky as bad as I do. I mean, how much better can it get,
Right. No, I get it, man. Hey, and he's got, who else better to ask about Razorback basketball than somebody who's played the game?
Yeah.
So I apologize. I'm having to do a couple of things at once. I can say that for tonight, the severe threat and storm threat is over for the state of Arkansas.
Good deal. Good deal.
The only thing now is just the flooding. Chuck, let me ask you this: when as a former player, are you able to go to practices or able to talk to the team? I know you don't go to the practices, obviously, but are you? Would you want to go? Would you want to talk to the team? I mean, what would you say as a former player?
Well, actually, Arkansas is getting another recruit this year. She doesn't play anything, but she will be enrolling in the University of Arkansas. So now I'll be in Fayetteville at least once or twice a month because my oldest daughter is going.
All right.
So she'll be enrolling this fall as a freshman. So yeah, I would love to. It's just, living here and in the career that I have, it's just hard to get up there during that time because, I train and I mentor and I'm working with kids during this part of the season. And it's hard to get there. I would love to. I think I was in touch with somebody when I was still working in finance about coming and giving like a financial session. But, my interest in sharing with the guys is just to enjoy the moment, man. Like, it's never like your career is at its peak where it is now. Don't look to what the future might be. Enjoy every single day that you have on that campus because it'll never be like that again. You'll never play in an environment like Fayetteville again. Like you can't go to a gas station. You can't go to a store without somebody patting you on your back. It'll never be like that again. So enjoy where you are right now and use this time, man. Use this time to build a little bit more than just a basketball player. You have all these resources, all these people at your disposal. Like I think this is a good time to start thinking about life after basketball. Like start making connections, start building a legacy of who you are to when basketball is over. People want you in their company. They want you around their kids. They want you to be a mentor because of what you represented. And that was the one thing that I did not realize that Coach Richardson was doing every day, building that character and showing us stuff outside of basketball that are going to be a part of our lives. He talked to us a lot about fatherhood, about growing and evolving into the kind of man that that people respect. And that would be my message to these guys, because the ball stops bouncing at some point and you have a chance to build a beautiful legacy for your kids to follow in by the way that you take advantage of things. And that would be my only thing, man, because I love to see guys after basketball giving back, doing good things. And you're in a time right now where you have all this attention. Just be careful on what you say, because everything is scrutinized, and be kind to people, and just try to look at every day as an opportunity, and just keep working, man.
You talk about that legacy. We had a perfectly timed comment come in with Trevor Kaiser. He says, "Woo Pig Suey, good luck. Hope she enjoys her college era and gets to join the alumni." So there you go, carrying on that Tatum tradition of being a Razorback. And, that's awesome, man.
I will. He is an alumni as well. Got his name on senior walk as well. So, MC, I know you got one more question in the barrel. I gotta you go ahead and ask it. I don't know if it's the same one I'm gonna ask, but go ahead and ask it.
All right, Chuck Tatum is a class of 25, 26 recruit. What who are you looking for with the NIL deal?
I got.
what's gonna speak to Chuck when you get these offers coming in? What's gonna be the one that speaks to you?
Well, it has to be something close to my heart, and it has to be something fun, and it has to be something for everybody to enjoy. And who doesn't like Skittles?
Yeah, there you go, baby. Yes,
it's the rainbow, man. Come on. If you're listening, Skittles, I'm a baby.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I'm glad T-Man got back in here for that because
that was perfectly timed to ask that as soon as you said it. He came back.
So, all right, Dylan. Dylan, now that you're in here, you got to tell the backstory here for the people that don't know the backstory with Chuck and the Skittles.
Okay, I can do that. I can do that while walking through Kroger. So the backstory, excuse me, is as a little 10-year-old, not even 10-year-old, 6-year-old kid, we go to the basketball game during the middle of the year, and get up by about 20, and this place starts looking like Rupp at about the 4-minute mark. And just it's a different time. You could just walk down and sit right behind the players.
Yeah.
And that's what me and my 3 brothers did with all of our snacks in hand and everything. Well, you got one shiny head turn around and look at you and say, "Hey man, can I get some Skittles?" And I'm just sitting there just like kind of frozen, like, is this man talking to me? Just frozen.
I'm serious too. I really do want
I'm
something.
100% serious. And I just freeze there just staring at him. I want to know his viewpoint on this because you see a little kid just staring back at you, just frozen. What do you think on that show?
Well, at first I was thinking you were kind of selfish, Dylan. I mean, you didn't get me. Like I'm obviously, I'm famished here, man. I'm sitting and I'm begging you for some. I know these aren't your seats, So like, you're going to give me some Skittles now, but I do. You were a nice kid. You had a nice smile. You did turn off the red though.
Okay, but I gotta ask.
Listen, I didn't tell the feds. That was not me. That was my brother.
How mad was Coach Richardson?
No, that was Coach Heath, wasn't it?
It was Coach.
Coach Heath.
It was Stan. It was Stan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That earned me 22 22s. And a 22 is down, back, down and back in 22 seconds. I do 22 of those. Post game.
Post game.
It's not even back the next day. This
Yeah.
I was a Nolan Richardson Razorback. That was no problem.
I mean, running. Yeah. At least it wasn't Cleveland Hill, right?
That's warm up. That's warm up with those Richardson. What are you talking about?
I got a question. Did you ever reach out to Coach Heath and say, I'm sorry, Stan? Did you ever reach out to Stan and say, "You'll never believe who I ran into or who called me one day," and tell him that story again?
No. After graduation, Stan Heath and I severed ties, never to be reconnected.
Gotcha.
That's okay because it wasn't long after that the university severed ties with him too.
Thank you.
There's a second half of that story we didn't get to as well. So the second half of this story. It was a couple of weeks later. Me and my brother are at a basketball tournament, and who should walk in but Stan Heath? His son's in the tournament as well. And my brother, being the Razorback fan he is, walks up to him and says, "Hey, Coach Heath." He says, "Hey, little guy." He's like, "Hey, Chuck Tatum turned around and asked my brother for Skittles during the game the other day." And he's like, his words apparently were we winning? And he said yes. But Coach Heath, Stan, said, "Well, you just saved Chuck a ton of running." So I couldn't imagine.
So wait, so Stan lied to this little kid?
Yes.
Because he didn't save Chuck any running. Sounds like he had a bunch of running.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse.
I mean, it was one of those so at post game, we're all in the locker room, and one of the managers brings out my practice gear. It's like,
oh Lord.
Oh, and so Coach he's a professional condescender.
It's a different world.
I'm that one from now
so
on.
It was like, "Coach, what's up with this? Hey, you can take those in your candy."
Wow.
All right. No, I don't have no excuse. Like I can't act like I didn't do it. I can't act like it's not a big deal. That was literally during the game. So it's like, okay, well, let's get it over with so I can go to wherever athletes go after the game on Saturday nights.
There you
It
go.
definitely wasn't Dixon Street, was it?
No, home.
I mean, he went home and ate some more Skittles. What are you talking about?
Right.
I mean,
and I was in bed by 10:30.
I think my brother owes you some Skittles after that. I think the buck got passed from me to him.
Oh man, man, 45 now. I had to give up all that stuff, man. I can't eat Skittles anymore. Come on.
I know the feeling, man. I know the feeling.
Yeah. I look at my pantry and it's nothing but kid stuff and bran. Like
I
like
wish
you can either have Fruit Loops or Post or like the cornflakes. Like
You know, whenever I called you, Chuck, I really wish these two could have been on the phone for that conversation because I was talking to Chuck and he's like, yes, this is Charles. I was like, hey, this is Dylan from Inside the Hawg Pen. How are you doing? And just like, hey, how you doing? It is so professional. And at the very end, I was like, hey, by the way, before I get off here, I got one more question for you. It's more of a personal. He's like, okay. And so I asked him, I was like, do you remember a kid asking you for Skittles during one of your basketball games? He's like, how do you know that?
I was that kid.
You a spy for Coach Heath?
By happenstance, do you remember this? How do you know? That was me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, these two like to point out that when I start talking about 90s hog ball, they start pointing out, yeah, I wasn't around for that. I'm just like, oh, just dig that knife a little deeper into my chest. You know? So,
I was 6.
You said Ernie Murray, and I said who? Not because,
yeah.
Not because
I told him
besides I wasn't alive.
I'm sitting over here. I'm stoked because I'm interviewing
you missed some
somebody
good stuff, Dylan. You missed some good stuff.
The young buck group. But hey, MC. Now wait a minute. I was 6 when Thurman hit the shot to win the title. All right. I remember the 90s.
Right back.
I remember
Chuck. I mean, come on, man. They're killing us here with this.
I'm telling you, I thought I felt old. Now I'm talking about I wasn't even born in the 90s. Like you missed Jordan and everything, man. Like there's a lot of big sports moments.
Yeah.
I remember Jordan, the Dream Team. I remember all that. I'm not. I'll be 40 in about 18 months. So
congratulations.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah. Come over on the other side of the hill with us.
Don't worry.
Men now.
After you pass 40. They automatically make you 50. Like automatically. I'm like, I'm 45. Why are we talking about when I'm 50? Like, you need to know, my wife, you need to know you need to go get checked when you're 50.
My daughter's 16 and she likes to call me vintage.
Yes.
Trust me, I get it.
I'm like, look, no, your friend's dad is old. I'm not. Like, no. He's old.
Yep, I know the feeling, man. I have the same discussion. I got 2 boys still living at home that 10 and 6, and my 6-year-old was asking me the other day. He's like, "Do you have TV growing up?" I'm like, "Son," I said, "I'm 47. I'm not 147. You know, I mean, come on."
I asked that. My dad's. We're not gonna talk about how old he is, but I ask him all the time. He was like, when I was in high school, I said, what? They chisel it in stone?
Flintstones, yeah.
Y'all still have the rims attached to the wall.
Yeah. Peach got the peach baskets up there, you know.
Yeah. There you go. All right, Chuck, we're gonna let you go, my friend. Final thoughts before we get out of here. Put a bow on the 2024-2025 season.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Just the start. Like there's too much energy and emotion and momentum around Arkansas basketball right now for us to do anything other than finish. I'm going Final Four next year.
Yeah, boy.
Yes.
I'm going Final Four next year.
Yes.
We're gonna have a blessed season with no injuries. And we're gonna roll through the SEC, through the tournament, and we're gonna where are we next year? Is it Indianapolis?
I believe so. I believe it's back at Indy next year.
Yeah. Zach, I'm rooming with you.
Hey, Hey, we'll get some kind of inside the hog pen thing going on, man. Because Indianapolis is it's not an impossible place to get to.
Ew. We'll make it happen.
So, hey, I don't have anything to add to that, man, because that's where I'm going to. I'm going Final Four next year. You get a good nucleus coming back. You get those freshmen coming in. Let's get a couple key pieces from the portal, man, and let's roll up to Indy and wreck some stuff.
Mad.
I'm gonna call it right now. Bud Walton North, Indianapolis.
Yeah, I'm in, baby.
So all of y'all are going Final Four, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pending recruiting changes, but yeah.
Well, I guess I'm gonna be the lone guy to say we're winning it all next year, baby.
Oh, okay.
We're cutting down next.
All right.
Hot take: Boogie Flan comes back.
Woo, man.
Hot take: Boogie Flan comes back.
I'll take it, baby. I'll take it.
All right, for D-Med, Marcus MC Carlton, and our special guest, former Arkansas Razorback Chuck Tatum, I'm Razorback Zach. Thank you all for listening to Inside the Hog Pen. Until next time, so long, everybody.
Thanks for watching this episode of Inside the Hog Pen. Listen anytime on your favorite podcast provider, and be sure to follow us on all our social network channels.